Everyone's so caught up with the fact that Sam Raimi could end up directing the sequel to Doctor Strange that nobody's asking if he should. So allow me. Yes, readers, it's true. After taking a break from directing films, Sam Raimi was tapped on the shoulder by Marvel Studios to possibly replace Scott Derrickson as director for the upcoming Phase 4 film, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And readers, when I tell you that Raimi fans freaked out upon hearing this news, I guarantee you that is not an understatement. But while people were celebrating the possibility of getting another Sam Raimi superhero film after all these years, this one being officially part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, more news began to break over the course of the same week regarding the current status of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And that news, depending on the type of person that you are, could tell you a lot about where not only Multiverse of Madness is, but where Marvel Studios is and how the development of this movie got to where it is in the first place. Some people, like me, are honestly worried about the well-being of Sam Raimi if he decides to take up directorial duties for this movie after putting together the pieces. One of the reasons being unable to compromise on a realistic time frame to make the movie, and the other being why Scott Derrickson stepped down as director of the project in the first place. Creative differences. And now that those pieces are finally available to us to put into place, we finally have an idea on what those creative differences are and how they factor into the lack of time Sam Raimi would have to truly make this movie great. And wouldn't you know it, it involves Disney+. Now, some of you may not know this, readers, but WandaVision isn't the only Disney Plus show that will directly tie into the events of Multiverse of Madness. It was recently revealed by Kevin Feige that the Loki series will also factor into the story for the Doctor Strange sequel, revealed in a Bloomberg piece about Disney CEO Bob Iger published in November of 2019. Now, about a month before that article hit the web, we got word in mid-October 2019 that Multiverse of Madness found its screenwriter in the form of Jade Halle Bartlett. So, one would think that if both WandaVision and Loki were going to tie into the overall story of Multiverse of Madness, that there would be some form of collaboration and communication between the showrunners and Bartlett herself to make sure that everything was going smoothly. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Because in early February of 2020, 1 month after Scott Derrickson stepped down from directing Multiverse due to creative differences, and literally 2 days after the Raimi news broke out, it was announced that the head writer of the Loki series for Disney+, Michael Waldron, would be rewriting the script for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, outside of Jade Bartlett getting the short end of the stick here, and this pretty much being the final piece that I was talking about in this very complicated puzzle as far as explaining what those possible creative differences were that caused Derrickson to leave as director, this change wouldn't necessarily be a problem. Obviously, in order to better establish a stronger connection between the Loki series and the Doctor Strange sequel, you want to get one of the main creative talents that actually worked on the Loki series in order to better connect it to the Doctor Strange sequel. After all, like I said in my Captain Marvel video, Megan McDonnell, one of the writers of the Disney Plus show WandaVision, which is the one introducing the adult version of Monica Rambeau into the MCU, is writing the script for Phase 5's Captain Marvel 2, in which we will probably see her get superheroed up alongside Brie Larson. And one of the best ways of making sure that the narrative between a Disney Plus series and a theatrically released movie is as smooth as possible is to get a writer that's worked on one to work on the other. However, the difference between the Captain Marvel sequel and the Doctor Strange sequel is that While the writer for Captain Marvel 2 was announced in January of 2020, with the film speculated to be released in 2022 as a Phase 5 film, the change between Jade Bartlett to Michael Waldron as head writer for the Multiverse of Madness was 1 month later, and as of this recording, is currently still scheduled to keep its original 2021 release date. And in order for them to keep it, that means production and filming has to start by spring of 2020 at the latest. So one has to ask, is it enough time to properly make the ties Marvel Studios wants Doctor Strange to make with Loki, let alone WandaVision, and also allow their new writer and possibly new director in the form of Sam Raimi to properly collaborate in order to make this apparently very important movie that will establish the next saga of the MCU as great as it can possibly be? My answer? It depends on how much Disney's current involvement is and if Marvel Studios truly has their shit together. I personally believe that Sam Raimi is a great choice to replace Scott Derrickson. Hell, Scott Derrickson thinks he's a great choice to replace Scott Derrickson. It's been proven that whenever Sam Raimi makes a comic book movie involving characters that he likes and is a fan of, he's going to put his heart and soul into not only the movie, but into the overall development of said character that they may not have even gotten in the comics. But the fact of the matter is that the last-minute decision to give the script a rewrite in order for the movie to better tie into the Loki series on Disney Plus when it's already supposed to tie into WandaVision, so close to the time that they would have to start production in order for the film to keep its currently scheduled release date, not only might have a heavy impact on what all Raimi is allowed to do in order to make the movie great, but also force him to have to do things that are mandated by either Marvel Studios or Disney themselves that he doesn't want to do, resulting in lowering the quality of the final product. Something that both Raimi and ourselves are all too familiar with. Compromise is definitely going to have to be a thing between these three entities if Sam Raimi is going to direct this movie and increase its potential of being great. Not only does he and Michael Waldron have to be absolutely in sync with each other in their collaboration in order to produce a sequel as great as Spider-Man 2, but considering what both Marvel Studios and Disney are trying to achieve of Multiverse of Madness being this big change in the MCU for the overall arc of the next saga of films, they have to take their time with it. Which means being willing to delay the film in order to make sure that we don't get a rushed product just to meet a deadline. And more importantly, so that Raimi, Waldron, and everyone else Marvel Studios and potentially Disney decide to add to this project can have a proper chance to talk, plan, and work together. Because with all of this pressure being placed on Multiverse of Madness being a game changer for the MCU, the last thing we need is for it to be another Rise of Skywalker. But I digress, readers. Your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comment section below whether or not you think Sam Raimi should still direct Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, considering the new information that we have about the film. Do you think there just isn't enough time? Do you think that he can make it work? I'd love to know your thoughts. If you want to help financially support the channel, you can join my Patreon by clicking the card at the end of the video or in the link in the description down below, where you can also find a link to my merchandise store. Or if you prefer to give a one-time donation, you can find links to my PayPal and my Ko-fi account in the description box as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.